It's time to speak on it, speak on it, speak on it. Educational fellow, you know what we do. It's time to speak on it, speak on it, speak on it. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Speak On It, Speak On It. So on this episode, my main mission was basically to highlight and talk about some of the things that I've been seeing transpire online through conversations I had with other people, through things that I've seen just throughout my daily weeks, my daily walks, my daily chats and talks. But one main goal that I wanted to talk about with this segment was all about power. Because I think that I preach about it in school and I preach about it within myself, but sometimes you don't feel like you have the power to make change. And I say that and I speak on that a lot because it's important that we remember and we understand the change that we have. And we know that we're constantly growing, we're constantly learning, and we're constantly doing things that could, get us to that next level. So for me, I feel like we should continue to be on that page, but at the same time, if we're preaching this to our kids, we should also be living it. If we're telling our kids, about everything being equal and, about rights, and we're reading them history books and we're teaching lessons, we should be living by those things as well. I don't think that we should just be preaching in the classroom and living a whole completely different lifestyle. If it takes us getting to know our students, getting to know what they do, I feel like to be an educator, those are some of the things that are common sense. To me, those are things that you should already know. You don't need to read a book about it. There's many things that you learn as an educator that you don't need to read a book about, that you automatically know. If it's not in your heart, this is the wrong field for you. We just are in this world, or we're in this placeholder right now where we have the ability to change lives. And I say that a lot because that's what I believe in. Educating minds and changing lives. That's just what I believe in. But when you think about how important it is to be an educator, it takes more than getting up on the board and writing objectives for the day. It takes more than sitting down and going about your curriculum and figuring out what you're going to teach for the day. It's understanding yourself. Because if you can't understand yourself, you can't be in a place of children and try to teach them when you really don't understand your own self as a teacher, as an educator. I feel like that's important. So many times when we speak to other educators and they're so stuck in their opinions and they're not able to see the world in many different directions, how could you be an educator? It doesn't make any sense if you can't take a step. Yes, I have my opinions, but at the same time, we can agree and I can look at ways differently, and I can also look at how can I better myself as an educator. Don't tell me 30 years down the line you're still doing the same thing that you were doing 10 years before, or 5 years, or 3 years when you started. It should be a continuum, and that's why it's important for me. Every year, I like to do fresh things. So if I did a project, I might do the same project, but I might look at it in a different way. I might grade it in a different way, and I allow my students to help me look at that in a different way. If they've done something that was really spot on and great, I'll be like, okay, next year, let me try to add that in. So that way it gives another element to what I'm doing, and everything is not so structured this, structured that, structured move around. And when I'm talking about being powerful, I feel like that's important because we don't understand how powerful we are as teachers, as customers, clients, family members. Like, your life is always pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, but you have to notice where your power is. Understand what that is. And I'm saying that only because I'm still struggling with that, and it still takes me time to understand where my power is, or I might feel defeated when actually it's really a victory for me, and I'm just having a hard time adjusting it because over the years and through everything, people highlight powerful moments in a different light. They don't see it as the same. And when you grow up and you're seeing these things, you start to examine your own life in a different sense, and you don't see how powerful you really are. And I feel like that's important. Like, we should see ourselves. We should reach out and touch ourselves. We should see how powerful we are. And I think that that's something that I try to do in my own classroom. Even if it's with activities, conversations with my kids on what does it mean to you? Because a lot of kids don't know what that means to be powerful. A lot of educators don't know what it means. You don't always have to be compliant. It's not always sticking with the status quo. Doing what you have to do to get by. It's raising questions. If stuff doesn't stick right with you, raise that question. And why is this? And not feeling defeated or wrong, or like you're going to get, or it's going to be a punishment. Because this is what we do. We love to punish. And to be powerful is to know that you don't need to punish others to succeed. You don't need to put other people down to succeed. To me, to be an educator is to unify a lot of things. Every year we're changing something, whether it be in the curriculum, whether it be in the rules, procedures, we're changing things. So how could you not see yourself as a powerful force? We do a lot of things where we put each other against another, an art teacher against another art teacher. Well, sometimes without us even thinking. We battle our own selves. Something I struggle with. Somebody tells me I'm good in this area, or that was really good. I'm really loving what you're doing. I could have did it better. I mean, it was good, but it was a mistake here. Although you didn't see it in the audience, I saw it on stage, and it just was eating away at me. Even though you're getting all of this praise, you don't understand your power. If you want change, you gotta get it. And I understand that people are like, well, these riots are not good, and this is not good, and this is not good. How people release their anger and how people release their fight for their struggle, for their pain, is always going to be different. And maybe we've done it in a whole bunch of different ways, but yet you're only highlighting that one aspect, that protest, that riot. And maybe that's not everybody. And that's the thing, maybe that's not everybody, but you're highlighting me and you're putting me in this box. How could I ever be as powerful as I want to be if no matter how powerful I feel like I am, to you, I will always be placed in this box? So even if I dress this box up and make it as beautiful as possible, it will still only and always be considered a box to others. But to me, it's who I am. It's my purpose. So when I explain to my kids in school and I tell them about, what it means to be powerful, when we go into our Motivational Mondays and we talk about, we've been and I've been thankful that I had this platform in the class, whether it's through media literacy and we're talking about how the media twists words and we're able to draft up, how could we look at headlines and how powerful headlines are that make us want to read. If we look at like Instagram posts and stuff like that, the first couple words, the first thing we see, it either has to grab our attention or not. So then when you go into broadcasting, it's like, okay, let's shoot this video, but we're going to shoot it from different angles. Now, the different angles that we shoot our video from is going to give us different ideas. So in our mind, we're going to see it differently versus if I give you just a snippet of an altercation or if I give you the full picture. Now, what could you think about if I give you just that small portion of that video, or if I decide to give you that whole video? People are going to have their own opinions. Maybe I'm not justifying what he said, but or if we look at the whole fact, it's like if you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. So it's so funny to see how my kids develop different ideas based on just the littlest bit of information that they get. Or if we do mock trials, we're able to see, which is amazing. And I wish that we were able to do this, in person, because so much debate comes through when we're talking about, like, did they really do it or did they not? And how can you justify that? The debates get heavy, but that's so important because it allows them to build up on something and bridge that gap on whether they did it or not, and help others see that. So it's not like, I understand your opinion. This is dumb. I understand what you're saying, but, it's creative. And it's mind-boggling to sit back and see your kids go through a debate and you're just sitting here and you're watching and they're, telling the other person, but they're never doing it in the fact of, in the efforts of rage. They're doing it to explain, to expand on something, and I feel like that to me is important. So when I ask my kids about what it means to be powerful, or we're sitting in theater class and I have them do a speech, random, improv, and I gave them something. Now break it apart. Tell me what it really means. How is this speech powerful? What is he saying? Public speaking. What is he saying? PSA announcements. Advertise something for your students. Advertise something for your family. For the students in the classroom right now, you got 1 minute. What do you say in that minute? And when you reflect on that, it's like we've been given a minute forever to showcase everything, what it means to be black, what it means. We've been given that 1 minute, that one PSA, public service announcement, and whatever we don't get in there, it don't matter. Whatever whatever we have to say, we have to get it out in just that 1 minute, or else everybody will stop caring. So when you ask me about what it means to be powerful, it goes beyond standing up for what you believe in. It's about being able to act on it, not for a month, not for a year. It becomes a part of your lifestyle. It becomes a part of who you are. So when I hear people and say, I'm looking for more resources, I'm trying to figure out, how I could, talk about this with my students. Do your research. That does not require finding the nearest black person and, asking them. It means just like as if you would use Google, use Google. I mean, I'm black and I use Google. There's no harm in it. But there's a lot of things that you can discover that you didn't know. So if you didn't know, how could you possibly be teaching it to your kids? It goes beyond February or January for Martin Luther King's birthday, or February for Black History Month. It is an all year round thing. Women in history. The things that we don't tell our kids are the issues that harm them the most, that confuse them the most. Because when they're stuck in their head about what really went on and what really goes on, and then they get older and they're, explaining to their kids, and their kids are like, no, my teacher told me this. And it's like, well, dang, I went to school and they were telling me this, and my own kid is coming home and, trying to teach me. And to me, that's important, but it's also a shock. So when I say who's powerful, educators, you are powerful. You have the power to stand up for something. If you want change, you have the power to make it. If kids are seeing firsthand who to turn to and where to look, and you need to be that source. We need to be that source. We always need to be that source. So we need to get out there and make it happen, Captain. Be powerful in your intentions. Be powerful in your curiosity. Be powerful enough to stand up, to make change. Shake the table if you have to. Shake it. Get in that room, sit at that table, and make it a mission to stay there. And bring other people on that look like you, that think like you, have minds like you. Because we're powerful. And if we don't believe that, we'll continue to do as we're told. Live as we're told. Dream the dream that we've been told that's been our dream, but it's really not our dream. And make room for other people. So while you're reaching for success and you're reaching to be powerful, remember where you were before you were in that powerful position. Remember where you were before you had the money to do as you please. Because those people who don't are those people who are supporting you and allowing you to live that lavish lifestyle, or live the way you want to live. And if you always live that lavish lifestyle, take a step back and learn about others. You don't have to be about the struggle to know about the struggle. It's really what it is. So be powerful today and always. Speak on it. Speak on it. This is Mr. Smalls, Educational Fellow, and we're out. Peace, love, and soul. Yes! Peace! It's time to speak on it. Speak on it. Speak on